Broadcasting from the deserts of sunny Arizona, you're listening to I've Got a Plan, hosted by Tim Fiskus, a podcast focusing on the two-player experience of Arkham Horror the card game. Join me as I take two investigators through a campaign, stopping along the way to talk tactics, strategy, and whine about the whims of the Chaos Bag. Let's have fun! Welcome back to I've Got a Plan, and we are at finally the return to Lost in Time and Space, the final scenario in the Return to Dunwich Legacy campaign. We have made it. Skids and Daisy have arrived in space, or I suppose time and space, because they are lost, and that's what the scenario is about, trying to figure out how to get back and defeat the forces of Yog-Sothoth as they try to end the world, or such things as the great old ones try to do. We, given the fact that this campaign was somewhat off the cuff to begin with, it was based on the ideas of the Mythos Busters podcast, episode 50, I think 50 and 51, where they built decks for Skids and Daisy, level 0 decks, meant to be paired together to go through a campaign. I took that idea and sort of ran with it, and I grabbed their level 0 decks, put them together, and here we are, probably about a month later, going through the final scenario. Skids and Daisy have made it, and in fact, we've made it with only one trauma on Daisy and no trauma on Skids. Now, I know the Dunwich Legacy is not a huge trauma campaign, and we have not earned a ton of XP, as is quite often the case in the Dunwich Legacy. But we have managed to survive and make it here. We came through the last return to Where Doom Awaits with 3 XP. Now, Skids had hospital debts in play at the end, as he tends to sometimes do. I drew it kind of with only a few rounds left to go. So he only earned 1 XP to be able to upgrade his deck between the final 2 scenarios, which is not, just, it might as well be, it's almost nothing. And Daisy had, of course, then the full complement of 3. Neither one of them had saved anything back prior going into Where Doom Awaits. And we are now going to talk a little bit about what we did for the deck changes in between the scenarios. So Skid's deck only had 1 XP to spend, so there were 3 changes. With Adaptable, I took out 2 copies of Vicious Blow, and I substituted in 2 copies of Perception. Now, it's a little funny to add Perception, a basic skill card that's been around since the days of the very beginning of the campaign, on the very final scenario of the campaign. But Skids and Daisy could very easily get separated in this scenario, and I wanted Skids to still have some ability to do some clue hunting. So I added in 2 Perceptions, took out 2 Vicious Blows. The enemies in this scenario are not going to go down to a 1 shot from a gun plus a Vicious Blow. I don't think there's any enemies with 3 health. So I'm going to need to lay a little bit more damage into them in order to kill them anyway. So I figure Skids is going to do some evading, and we'll spend our slots on being able to grab some clues. To that end, my 1 XP was spent on a second set of lockpicks, which replaced an intel report. I like intel report quite a bit, and in this scenario, I think it's just as good as it is in many scenarios, but I'm going to be probably spending the money for extra actions rather than buying clues outright. So I still have 1 intel report in the deck, but the other one was traded out for a lockpicks. Lockpicks is just really solid with Skids. It lets him investigate at a 7 without really any effort whatsoever. Daisy's deck went through just a couple simple changes. I had 3 XP to spend, and so I removed a couple cards from the deck that were, I suppose, maybe a little bit controversial. I took out 2 Perceptions, and I also took out a Storm of Spirits. I hadn't really ever cast Storm of Spirits the whole campaign, and this scenario is not one that has a lot of small enemies in it. So I took out Storm of Spirits, and I substituted in 2 copies of Astral Travel and 1 copy of Forewarned. I was going to say premonition, but that's not quite right. Forewarned. It was my second copy of Forewarned. I had that in hand last scenario, and I think that's a good one to be able to cancel some treacheries that come up, which can be quite bad in this scenario, as they always are in the final scenario of a campaign. And the astral travels are there because, well, for lack of any other explanation, we are traveling through space. And Daisy and Skids can get separated. There are times when you need to make it quickly across a expanse of space that just simply isn't connected. And so astral travel lets you just zip from one to the next. Those are all level 0 cards. Well, astral travel is level 0, and so those cost 1 XP to add into your deck when you do it later in the campaign. But I think the astral travels, which are also, by the way, a combination with the Divermus Mysterious Tome, they can be cast a couple times. And so I might be able to, with a sufficient cash, just travel around a little bit more willy-nilly through the cosmos here. So that was my thoughts there, and we're going to give it a go with Daisy and Skids. And let's go ahead and dish up our starting hands. Oh, I suppose I should say, before we get our starting hands, what's going on. In this scenario, we are starting at another dimension, which is a 6-shroud location with 0 clues. And it has an effect that says, when a location leaves play, move each investigator and unengaged enemy at that location to another dimension. Cannot be canceled. So if you're on another location and it goes away, you and the monsters there are teleported back to another dimension. Now, I have put a little marker over top of that on this card to remind me that that actually doesn't happen in the return to Lost in Time and Space. When you are returned to another dimension, you are instead returned one location away to a place called Realms Beyond, which is connected in a one-way fashion to another dimension. And the Realms Beyond is a 9-shroud location. I think that's the biggest in the game, with 0 clues. And it is the home of Yog-Sothoth himself. So he starts the game in play. In the original Dunwich Legacy, that is not the case. Yog-Sothoth comes in later in the scenario, maybe, and sometimes you can even avoid him altogether. But he is a great old one, and he does not mess around. So if you do not want to stick around in Realms Beyond, you need to get out. But Realms Beyond makes you test. Let's take a look at that card. It says, as an additional cost for you to leave Realms Beyond, test willpower or agility 3. If you fail, cancel the effects of the move. Okay, so that can obviously be terrible. And if you get stuck there, Yog-Sothoth hits for 1 damage and 5 horror, which you can take by discarding. You can reduce that by discarding the top card of your deck. But regardless, that's not a shot that anybody wants to take. He cannot do attacks of opportunity, so you're only going to take that damage if you're in Realms Beyond during the enemy phase. But it is quite possible to end up there during the enemy phase, and I have had that happen before. So we're going to try to avoid that at all costs. And that's all we know of the universe. This scenario has a very quick and easy setup. Everything else, all the locations, everything else we're going to run into, all gets shuffled into the encounter deck, which is a big old thick thing here. Show you how big that thing is. And that encounter deck has the locations we're going to be traveling to. So I'll get into how that all works in just a minute. But let's go ahead and grab some starting hands. We've got 5 resources for each of our investigators. And Skids' starting 5 cards are 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got a 45 automatic, an Ace of Swords. Great to see that. Hey, a Hallowed Mirror. The first time I've drawn that card in this whole campaign. I upgraded to this about 3 scenarios ago, maybe, and I finally got it. Scene of the Crime, which is not bad, and a Tennessee Sour Mash. Okay. Well, the Tennessee Sour Mash is pretty tempting. This is an expensive hand right here. I'm keeping this. I'm keeping the Hallowed Mirror, even if that was a bad idea, because I'm not going to risk not seeing that again. I'll certainly keep the Ace of Swords because that's free to play. I will keep the 45 automatic, as that is a nice weapon that I'm going to want to have. I think I'll push back the Scene of the Crime The Tennessee Sour Mash. It's a singleton in my deck, and it's going to be really nice to be able to get a couple Willpower Treachery card, get out of that free. And it does have a little attack ability on there. I'll keep it. I'll keep all 4 of those cards, and I will replace the Scene of the Crime with an Elder Sign Amulet. Okay, well that extra Sanity Soak will come in very handy. You know, that was my first upgrade for Skids. I took that right off the bat because I was afraid going into the extracurricular activities that I was going to need some extra sanity help for Skids. And I bought that Elder Sign Amulet. I have drawn it in my hand a number of times over the course of the campaign, and I'm pretty sure I have committed it to a skill test every single time. I don't think I've ever played it. So looking back, maybe that's 3 XP I would like to have back. But I might be using it very well in this scenario right here. So hard to imagine that just sitting in my hand the whole game. And that's our starting hand. So the Hallowed Mirror doesn't get in the way of anything, does it? Oh, the Hallowed Mirror gets in the way of the Elder Sign Amulet. Of course it does. Well, I will at least at first hold on to the Hallowed Mirror until I've seen a couple of those soothing melodies, and then maybe I'll replace the Elder Sign Amulet. Or I'll probably commit it, and all of that conversation will be moot. So let me go ahead and I'll shuffle up Skid's deck in a second here. And then let's look at Daisy's top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Daisy's looking at a Forewarned, a Mind Over Matter, a St. Hubert's Key, that's a keeper, an Astral Travel, and a Logical Reasoning. All right, well, I don't need the Logical Reasoning right off the bat. I don't need the Astral Travel right off the bat. I don't need the Mind Over Matter, but I'm going to keep it because if I can get a Divermus, I can get a couple uses out of that. I'm going to keep the St. Hubert's Key and the Mind Over Matter. There are no clues on this initial location, so I'm not going to be able to grab one right off the bat. So I don't think I'm going to worry about Forewarned. No, I'd like to get one of her tomes up and running. I'm going to go ahead and get that out and see if I can't draw a Old Book of Lore or a Mr. Rook or a Necronomicon or something. So 3 cards, 1, 2, 3 replacements. We've got a shortcut. All right, a shortcut level 2 at the Another Dimension is going to be bananas great. That's really good. A Divermus Mysterious and an Inquiring Mind. Okay, not bad at all. So I will go ahead and make that my starting hand. I don't have a book. Well, I do have the Divermus Mysterious, but that doesn't really work until you start having cards in your discard pile. And so I'll probably just hold on to that for a while and wait until I build up a little bit of discard. This scenario does have Beyond the Veil, so there are going to be effects that discard cards off of Daisy's deck, and that discard pile might fill up faster than it seems like it might. And through the magic of video editing, our decks are shuffled and we are ready to go. I was just thinking about Skids. His basic weakness from the very beginning has been the stubborn detective. And I always find this a very funny thematic weakness for Skids. You know, he's an ex-con being chased around by a stubborn detective, popping up everywhere, popping up potentially even in space. Hey, you, I've been after you. But I do believe, and I'll have to go back and rewatch the videos to double check, but I do believe that I have only had the stubborn detective one time out of the entire 8 scenario campaign show up and cause me trouble. So I'm sure I've just jinxed myself by saying that. Let me tap his deck a couple times and get that stubborn detective knocked a little lower. But it's just kind of funny. He's a stubborn detective, but he doesn't have any idea where I am. So he's stubbornly futile. All right, and it's time to begin the scenario. We are at Agenda 1A. All is one. Pathways of sound and color extend for an eternity in all directions, dotted with impossible architecture and overgrown with alien wildlife. The lines between objects are jagged and shifting, and your skin feels as if it were inside out. After you are moved to a location by an encounter card effect, take 1 horror. And this artwork is really cool. It looks like the clouds have parted and have the roots of some sort of plant growing down through them, tendrils or tentacles or something heading into a canyon. Super giant, really interesting. And our Act 1A says, out of this world. Somehow you must find your way across this alien landscape in order to find the nexus that was described in Old Whately's tome. As an action, we discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck, choose a location discarded by this effect, and resolve its revelation ability. So this is how new locations come into play. You don't have to spend anything to do it other than an action. And we will require 4 clues to be able to advance the act, which unsurprisingly we're going to want to do as quick as possible. The Agenda 1A deck only has 4 Doom Threshold, so we're a little pressed for time right off the bat. All right, so how do I want to handle this business? I certainly want to get Daisy up and investigating here. So let's grab, I've got my 5 resources. I know what the 5 resources are going for. I'm going to play a St. Hubert's Key right off the bat with Daisy. And that will up her mind stats to 4 and 6, 4 willpower and 6 intelligence, 6 intellect, and then let's go ahead and spend that last resource on a shortcut right here at the Another Dimension. So this is a terrific place for a shortcut because we can zip out of here a little faster. I will take a little bead and put it on there to show that it hasn't been used yet. That card is fast to play, only costs 1 resource. Terrific card. All right, for Daisy's second action, I'm out of cash, so I'm going to just go ahead and explore. We'll call it explore. It's a Forgotten Age holdover there. And let's go ahead and draw the top 3 cards. Sorry, we're actually discarding the top 3 cards of the encounter deck, and we're going to choose a location if there is one. And there is one, okay? We also discard a conglomeration of spheres. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, sad to see that go. And a baleful welcome, also one I'm not glad to see. Okay, and so let's see what it says here. Choose and resolve its revelation ability. Okay, so we only resolve its revelation ability, which says to put it into play. So we're putting that into play. And it is connected. It is a red square, so it is connected to the Another Dimension. And does it connect back? It does not connect back. So you're going there, and then you got to go somewhere else from there. It heads off to the green and red locations. It says, forced at the end of the round, either place a Doom on Tear Through Space or discard it, which would then bump us back to the Another Dimension, and we would take a horror. So Daisy has explored. There's 1 clue. This is a 1 shroud location with 1 clue. Honestly, that's something that Skids could handle with his 3 investigate power. Speaking of which, let's talk a little bit about the Mythos tokens. This is the scenario card. Skulls are -1 for each extra dimensional location in play, which right now there is only 1. Maximum -5. We'll hit that. We sure will. The cultists, of which I have 1 in the bag, say to reveal another token. If you fail after the skill test, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a location is discarded. Put that location into play and move there, so you can end up getting zipped across space to somewhere that isn't even connected to anything. It's kind of a fun ability. And the Elder thing is, as always, just terrible. -X. X is the shroud value of your location. So right now, that would be a -6 where we're sitting right now. If you fail and the location is extra dimensional, discard it. So you have to be very aware of the fact that when you are on an extra dimensional location, be up on the skill test for investigation by at least the shroud value. So double it if possible. Now there is only one elder thing in the deck, but God save me, I keep drawing that thing. So let's see what I want to do here. I don't think I'm going to send Daisy quite yet through the tear through space. I think I'm going to go ahead and investigate one more time and get another location into play. We need 4 clues to go to get any forward progress, and that only has 1 of them on there. So let's go ahead and look again. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Any locations in here? Yes, there is. A Beyond the Veil and an Infinite Doorway. Another couple cards I'm glad to see go. And we have another Tear Through Space, which is also connected to our location, but not back. All right, so connections are a little tricky in this scenario, so we have to be a little bit careful about how we approach that. Okay, so that was Daisy's 3rd action. I don't have any tomes, so no tome action right now. And the question is, do I want to scoot out with the shortcut? And I think the answer is no, I do not. Also, the tear through spaces are connected to each other. So that's kind of nice. Let me move that. Okay, so with Skids, I think I'm just going to go ahead and take a quick journey through the cosmos here. The first thing I'm going to do is play out the Ace of Swords. I should have done that before the game began. That's free to play out there, and ups Skids' fight value to 4. And I'm going to go ahead and spend 3 resources and get that Tennessee Sour Mash into play. That's also a fast action and comes into play with 2 supplies. Help me maybe pass a treachery early. Keep some tempo going. Leaves me with 2 resources. I will not worry about playing that Hallowed Mirror just yet because I would like to be able to... I don't have anything to heal just yet, but I'm sure soon enough I will. So Skids is going to use the shortcut ability to shortcut his way out to a tear through space, and then let's go ahead and investigate. I'm investigating this at 3 to 1. Chaos Bag is not too unfriendly right now at 3 to 1. There are 2 extra dimensional locations in play. And we draw out of the bag an Elder Thing. What did I tell you? What did I tell you about this thing? I say I always draw it. All right, so this is the shroud value of my location, which is only 1. So a -1 is good enough to be able to grab that clue. All right. So Skids grabs 1 clue. That was his first action because I shot over there with a shortcut. For my second action, I will move to the other tear through space. Those 2 are connected, and then I will go ahead and investigate that. And I will investigate that also at 3 to 1. And we pull out of the bag a -1. Okay, great. So Skids grabs a couple clues, courtesy of shortcut propelling him through space. And that is it. Now I can spend 2 actions to move, but I can't get back to another dimension intentionally. So I'll just hang out there. Okay, and that's that. There are no enemies in play, so we're gonna go ahead and reset. Skids will take his actions back, and we draw a Scene of the Crime. Okay, not necessary right now, but we'll see. I'll grab a resource. And then Daisy will draw a Knowledge is Power. Okay. Let's see. Choose a tome or spell that you control or from your hand. Okay, nothing I really want to do right now. It's a good card to get later in the scenario when your discard pile has bulked up a bit, or you've got a good tome in play to grab some cash or something like that. But I don't, so we'll just go ahead and move on. I will take a resource. That's 1 resource for Daisy and 3 for Skids. And we're going to go ahead and move on to, so first of all, at the end of the round, we have end of the round effects here. I will discard the tear through space that is empty of clues, and that will get rid of those location connectors. And the other one, I either am going to have to sink back into the sea with that one and I would take a horror and come back to home base. Or I would place a doom on it. I could place the doom on it and then get rid of it next round. Save me a horror. Let's do that. I'll place a doom on it. And then at the end of the next round, I'll probably just ditch it. Let me put a marker on the agenda to show that I've got a doom in play. And that'll leave me there. Okay, sounds good. Mythos phase, number 1. Skid's card is, oh, another tear through space. All right. So this has Surge when you draw it off the top of the deck. So it is Revelation. Let's put it into play. We'll just replace the one that we just had. And that has a clue on it. And we're just found a little rift, a little pocket here in space. Okay, and then that is a Surge. So for Skids, that surges into Vast Expanse. If there are no extra dimensional locations in play, Vast Expanse gains Surge. Well, there are 2. Otherwise, test Willpower 2, where X is the number of extra dimensional locations in play. Okay, for each point you fail by, take a horror. I'm not going to Tennessee Sour Mash this. I could Tennessee Sour Mash this, but I'm okay taking a couple horror right now since I have the Hallowed Mirror up and running, or will be able to have it up and running. So I'll take it. Let's go ahead and test 2 to 2. And I get a Cultist. Well, this is going to be interesting. Reveal another token. I got a -5. Okay, well, all right, this says, for each point you fail by, take a horror. Okay, so Skids is going to take 2 horror. So I'll go ahead and take that. That's 2 out of 6. Okay, and then because there was a Cultist and I failed, I have to do something else. If you fail after this skill test, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a location is discarded. Put that location into play and move there. All right, so we go looking for a location. We find one. The Steps of Yog-Sothoth. All right, this is a plus location, which is not right now connected to anything in play. So I'm just gonna set this aside over here with no connections to it. It is a 3 shroud location with 2 clues. This is one of the locations that gets you where you're going as far as the purpose of this scenario once we get there. Put the Steps of Yog-Sothoth into play, Revelation. Then draw the topmost Madness card in your discard pile. Well, I don't even have a discard pile, so haha. All right, and then when you would leave there, you have to deal with some problems. But right now, I just need, let me clear some space over here. I just need to get there, but I'm not connected by any means. Except that I do believe that this says put this location into play and move there. Oh boy. So Skids is summarily dumped into the Steps of Yog-Sothoth, which also gives him a horror. Anytime you are moved to a location by an encounter card effect, take a horror. And I do believe that the scenario card is considered an encounter card effect. I'm gonna take that horror. I'm pretty sure that's the case. If I find out otherwise, I will edit the video and let you know. So that puts Skids at 3 out of 6 horror. So we're gonna definitely need to get that mirror running here shortly. And on top of that, Skids now finds himself in a location that is not connected to anything else in the universe. All right. That's very interesting. All right, and Daisy's encounter card is an Interstellar Traveler. All right, this is a big old monster. I don't have any way to cancel or stop this. It is a 4-fight, 2 evade, 3 health monster. Spawns at any extra dimensional location. All right. When the Interstellar Traveler enters a location, flip a clue on that location to its doom side and place it on the Interstellar Traveler, or place a doom on the Interstellar Traveler if there are no clues on that location. Well, that's interesting. So this opens up the possibility of a scene of the crime with Skids. It's not too tough to evade. It's killable, and I'm kind of stuck there with nothing else to do. The problem is that if I put it there, that is going to suck up one of the clues. It's a tricky pull right there. I'm going to go ahead and put that on the steps with Skids. The problem with this guy is that he will hunt through the universe and just suck up your clues and place doom. And so I'm going to put him somewhere where there's nothing connected, so he can't go anywhere. And I'll see if I can't keep him busy with evade. He only has 2 evade, so that's something Skids can handle. And that's going to go ahead and spawn engaged with Skids. That will then that is considered to have entered that location. So one of the clues on that location becomes a doom on the Interstellar Traveler. Puts us at 3 doom out of 4. And that is that. So on to the investigation phase. All right, so I think the best way to handle this, I know that Skids is going to evade that Interstellar Traveler just to sort of keep that out of play for right now. I'd like to get my 45 into play to get a shot at that guy, but right now I don't have the cash for it, so I'll stall a little bit there. See if maybe I can grab that clue that's over here on the steps of Yig-Harl. I could grab it with the scene of the crime, though that is cash that I would almost rather spend on the 45. Bit of a tricky situation there. So I'm going to go first with Daisy, and what I really wanted Daisy to do is grab the clue on the other tear through space and then see if she can't dig out a connection so that Skids can get back connected with the rest of the world. So let's go ahead and do that. Daisy will go first, and I'm going to use the shortcut where she is to shortcut over to the tear through space. And that's a one-way trip, so off we go. I will spend my first action. So my thought here was to grab the clue and then spend a couple actions searching for a location, but you don't have to move to the location once you find one. So let's go ahead and search first. I'm going to spend 3 and I'm going to look for a location. So 3 cards, see if I find anything. Nothing. Another Interstellar Traveler and a Vassal of the Lurker are both discarded, so that's actually not so bad. Right now we're not ready for those big guys. I will spend another action to look around again. Yeah, let's go ahead and draw 3 more cards. Okay, well, I got a conglomeration of spheres of visions of futures past and another tear through space. Holy mackerel. So this tear through space is of course connected to all the other tear through spaces. So let's go ahead and just kind of stick another connection here. So these are all connected to each other. And since I'm going to be sticking around, that has a clue on it, obviously, just like all the other ones do. And I'm going to be sticking around a little bit, and it looks like the Doom is going to advance this turn whether I like it or not. So let's go ahead and spend my third action and grab the clue there. So that is 6 to 1. And I got a tentacle. Good times, good times. All right, so I failed that check. Yummy. Okay. All right, well, that's just terrific. So Skids, who is stuck here at the steps of Yog-Sothoth, I'm going to go ahead and let's just do a scene of the crime. I'm going to go ahead, do a scene of the crime, and grab that clue. No, I'm going to let Daisy grab that. We're going to need to come through here anyway, and I think Skids is just going to be stuck here. I'm only one resource away from getting that gun out. So let's evade this guy at 4 to 2. I won't add anything to that. And I got a 0. All right, so that's a successful evade. So he is evaded. Put him over here. And then I will go ahead and spend my second action to take a resource. And then I will spend my third action to play the 45. Yeah. Get that in play, get 4 ammo on it. Gonna need a weapon. So that takes care of all my resources, and I'm out of actions. I'm out of money. And hopefully I'm not out of time. I am certainly out of time on this agenda though, so let's go ahead to the enemy phase. Nothing happens. Then we go to the reset phase. The interstellar traveler is going to ready and re-engage with Skids. He did not re-enter the location or anything like that. And then we have to reset and draw some cards. So Skids is going to draw a card. We get a lockpicks. All right, that's not too bad. Take a resource. Lots of cool stuff. Not any money to do it right now. So Skids a little slow start on the cash front. And then Daisy will take draw a card. She gets another St. Hubert's key, which she doesn't need, so I can commit that. And I'll take a resource, which puts her at 2 resources. Okay. Then at the end of the round, I have to make some decisions on these tear-through spaces. Let me think about this. Is there any way for me to avoid the agenda advancing here? The only way to avoid that would be to get rid of all of the tear-through spaces, which would put Daisy back at Realms Beyond, which sounds like a bad idea. I could get out of it, probably, with a willpower test, but only probably. And that puts me back. Yeah, no, I think I'll go ahead and farm a couple of these clues still. I'm gonna let's see. All the doom would go away at the end of the round. So let's see, since I'm not gonna be able to stop this, let's just go ahead and put a doom on everything. I'll let this one go. There's no clues there. And I will put a doom on this one to keep the clue around, and I'll put a doom on the one I'm on to keep the clue around. And let's go ahead and readjust the arrows here. So let's see, this is connected there. These two are connected to each other. Okay, that's right. Okay, and that is end of the round stuff. So the shortcut is also back. And then we go to the Mythos phase. So we now have a whole bunch of doom in play. We're gonna be putting a doom on the agenda, which puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 4 doom. Yeah, so we advance the agenda. So all the other doom goes away. There's nothing that says not to, right? Yep, no, okay, all that doom goes away. And the agenda advances. All is one. Agenda 1B. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Then discard the cards from the top until a location is discarded. The lead investigator resolves that location's revelation effect. All right. So let's go ahead and reshuffle this. So it looks like, Skids is going to be the one that resolves the revelation effect. It would be really great if we could get lucky enough to pull that green triangle location, or green diamond location, whatever that is, because that would then connect Skids and Daisy up, and I might be able to go ahead and advance to the next section, the next act. Don't want to dawdle, that's for sure. Okay, so now we're going to discard cards until a location is revealed. So just do it here. Okay, a tear through space. Just seems to be a popular place these days. Oops, I should not have gotten rid of those 3 cards. Here they are right here. Okay. Let me just double check this. Discard cards until a location is discarded. The rest of it just stays as a deck. And that tear through space goes into play. It's another one that's just like the other ones. Let's go ahead and just reconnect those with an arrow. I'll just connect them all to another dimension. I know that they're all connected to each other, so that's fine. And that has a clue. All right, well, Daisy could honestly just sort of zip through space this turn and just snap up a bunch of clues. Probably seems like a good idea. All right, reading on. Familiar echoes. Check campaign log. If the investigators failed to save the students, read the following. We did not fail to save the students. In fact, we specifically saved them by going through the dormitories. So let's see, each investigator doesn't have to read this. So skipping that and moving on. Okay, so that was the Mythos phase agenda. Now we're going to have to draw 2 encounter cards. So Skids' encounter card is Collapsing Reality. If you are at an extra dimensional location, discard it and take a damage. Oh, that's interesting. I am at an extra dimensional location. Discard it and take a damage. Wowzers. Okay, well, I did not expect that to happen. Okay, so I have to take a damage, which I can easily do. No damage so far. And I have to get rid of the Steps of Yig-Harl. So that goes away. The clue on it goes away when you would leave. Okay, I didn't leave. I'm reading the forced effect on the steps. When you would leave the Steps of Yig-Harl, but I'm not leaving there. I'm just getting discarded. So that's discarded. Now, when a forced effect would move an investigator or an enemy to another dimension, cancel the effect of that move and move them to Realms Beyond. So I have to move to Realms Beyond, and I think the monster does too, if that's not correct. Each investigator and unengaged enemy at that location to another dimension. Well, Interstellar Travel was engaged with me, so I assume that it's presumed that he goes into this location with me. Now, the question here is, does he enter that location? I would guess that he does enter that location. That's a bit tricky. If he enters that location, or place a doom on that location if there are no clues. Let's see. I'm also going to take a horror for being teleported across the cosmos into Realms Beyond. Okay, so that puts me at 4 out of 6 horror. This is an issue, no doubt about it. As is getting out of here. Okay, so I guess we'll put a doom on there. suppose that's how that would work. Because the interstellar travel entered that location along with me. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that one up, but I think that's how that would work. I'm playing it sort of the hardest possible way for me, and that typically tends to be right. All right, well, that was Skid's whopper of an encounter card, and let's draw Daisy's. Holy mackerel. A Vassal of the Lurker. Hunter, forced at the end of the enemy phase, each investigator at Vassal of the Lurker's location discards a card from the top of his or her deck. This is a victory 1, 3 fight, 2 evade, 4 health, and it is engaged with Daisy, who is not happy about that. Interesting. Daisy doesn't have any way to really deal damage to that other than I could go through a series of 3 hits with a mind over matter. It's not terrible, but it doesn't kill it. Skids might be able to come up and help out. He's got the problems of his own. I've got to get out of here before Yog-Sothoth hits me. No doubt about that. All right, well, that was a hell of a Mythos phase, honestly. Let's see what I can do about this. Daisy could just Inquiring Mind evade. That seems like the right thing to do right now. Or do I just Mind over Matter evade him? Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to... Daisy is just kind of stuck out here in the cosmos. I'm going to do Skids first. Let's start with Skids. I will take my first action to try to evade the Interstellar Traveler at 4-2. Or, you know what? Maybe I'm just going to blast this guy. I think I'm going to just blast this guy. I don't think I want him chasing me and adding more doom and all that sort of stuff. I think this is where it ends. Hopefully. So the blasting him is only a 5-4. Oh boy, what are we at? Minus skulls are terrible. Just terrible. The elder thing is -9. So that's a fail there too. It's a little tricky. He does not have retaliate, but it would take 2 shots to kill this guy. And then I would have to try to zip out on my last action. I'm going to try it. Let's try it. I'm going to fight him. I'm going to take a shot. We're going to go 5-4, and I'm going to go ahead and commit the scene of the crime to go 6-4. And I got a -1. Okay, that's good. So that's 2 damage on the Interstellar Traveler. And a bullet spent out of the gun. And a scene of the crime committed. All right, and then for my second action, I will shoot him again at 5-4. And I will commit. Will I commit? No, 5-4. I'm just going to let that ride at 5-4. And the Chaos Bag says, yes, -1. Oh boy, that was lucky. Okay, so 2 bullets down, happily spent to kill this Interstellar Traveler. And now Skids needs to beat feet out of the realms beyond. Now, as an additional cost to leave this, I have to test, this will be, in this case, Agility 3. Ooh, or Tennessee Sour Mash might get me out of this. And spend 1 supply, you get +3 for a skill test on a treachery card. This is not a treachery card. It is an encounter card, but it is not a treachery card. Okay, so I will do evade on this. So I'll be testing my agility 4-3, and I will toss in an Elder Sign Amulet to go 5-3 to get me the hell out of here. I know that Elder Sign Amulet is valuable, but I need to go. I don't have a cash. And I've got the Hallowed Mirror, so 5-3, get me out of this hellhole. All right, 5-3 pulls me a -2. Holy mackerel! I'm glad I committed that, and I made it out. Yog-Sothoth is terrifying. Okay, as he should be. Well done, designers. And let's see, that was my third action to get out. Now I can shortcut out of here. Do I want to? Daisy can't get back. So yeah, I'll go ahead and shortcut out of here, and I'll go to where Daisy is. No, I'm gonna go to where Daisy was gonna hopefully end up. So, ooh, no. I'll go to where Daisy is so that I can take on this Vassal of the Lurker next round. So I'm gonna go ahead and shortcut up into this tear through space. Yeah, and that is the end of Skid's turn. So Daisy will go ahead and evade the Vassal of the Lurker, and I will do this using Inquiring Mind. So I am at 5-2. And 5-2 draws me a -3. Excellent. Okay, 5-2 at -3 is a success. So the Vassal of the Lurker is evaded. That's Daisy's first action. And that's the Inquiring Mind spent. Okay, Daisy's second action will be to grab the clue here. No, I'll leave that clue for Skids to grab. Let's go ahead and move. I'll move into this other tear through space, and then I will grab the clue there as well. Six to 1. It's a skull. I gotta add that up. -1 for each extra dimensional in play. That is -3. Whew. Okay, successful. So I'll grab that clue. All right, we now have 3 out of the 4 necessary clues in order to be able to advance the act. All right, so that is it. That's the end of the investigation phase. Enemy phase, nothing happens. We're going to reset. The Vassal of the Lurker will re-engage Skids, or will engage Skids. Oh, and then wait a second here. Vassal of the Lurker has forced. At the end of the enemy phase, each investigator at its location, whether it's ready or not, discards 1 card from the top of his or her deck. Okay, so I need to discard a card. And that is a narrow escape. Too bad. That would have been helpful. Okay, Vassal of the Lurker is now engaged with me. And I will draw an Enchanted Blade. Okay, that's fine. This is just a basic Enchanted Blade. And I'll take a second resource, which I'm going to be using for Hallowed Mirror, if all goes well. And then Daisy will go ahead and reset and draw a shortcut, another level 2 shortcut. Okay, well, this is not the right place to play that, but there will be one, I'm sure, at some point. And I'll take a resource, putting me at 3. Okay, so that's that. So then we get to the end of the round, and we have to decide what to do with these tear through spaces. All right, we have 1 Doom in play. I can afford 2 more Doom without tipping the scales. No, let's see. If I put a Doom on both of our locations, yuck. Okay, so the right thing to do here is I'm going to put a Doom on Skid's location to be able to keep him in play. And I'm going to, so that's 1, 2. That's all I can have out there because I'm gonna be putting 1 at the start of the next phase on here. So Daisy's gonna have to get ding dong ditched. So Daisy's gonna get ditched. We're gonna let this tear through space go. We're gonna let this tear through space go. And Daisy's gonna get dumped at Realms Beyond and take a horror. So that's her first sanity loss, so no big deal there. Her first horror. And then she's gonna have to willpower her way out of Yog-Sothoth's location. Say that 3 times fast. All right, and that clears up the board a little bit. And then we're going into the Mythos phase. So we get 1 Doom on the agenda, which is now at 3 out of 4. how fast it goes. And then we draw some cards. Skids encounter card is Haunting Recollections. For each card in your hand, if there's a copy of that card in your discard pile, and that is not the case. All 3 cards in my hand have not been seen yet. Take horror. If I take no horror, discard the top 3 cards of my deck. Okay, so I will discard the top 3 cards of my deck. So I discard a Take the Initiative, my physical training, too bad, and another Scene of the Crime. Okay, well, not terrible. It's a randomized deck, as it were. And then Daisy's Mythos Phase encounter card is an Endless Bridge. Okay. Revelation, put Endless Bridge into play and lose 2 resources. All right, well, so let's see. This is a blue triangle, which is connected. Okay, this is a 4 shroud location with 2 clues. Forced, after an investigator leaves Endless Bridge, either place a doom on it or discard it. Okay. And it is connected to another dimension, one way. It is connected to Tear Through Space, both directions. All right. It's all right. That's not bad. That gets us a little bit of space. And Daisy has to lose 2 resources. Okay, well, better than Skids. Not great, though. I was hoping to be able to spend some stuff, but I'm all right now. Daisy needs to be getting clues anyway. So that is that. Let's move into the investigation phase, and let's see how I want to handle this. Let's get Daisy out of Dodge first. Let's go ahead and try to get out of Yog-Sothoth's grasp. All right, there are 2 extra dimensional locations in play, so this means skulls are -2. I am at 4-3 with willpower to get out of this space, so I will commit my extra St. Hubert's key to go 5-3 and try to get out of here. All right, 5-3, and the token comes out of the bag. It is a skull. Ha, good math, Tim. So a skull is -2 because, I didn't look. Okay, yeah, the Realms Beyond is not an extra dimensional. It is Otherworld. So I got out of there for my first action. Okay, and only at the cost of an extra card. Not bad at all. I will take the shortcut from another dimension up to the Endless Bridge. That doesn't cost me anything. And then I will investigate the Endless Bridge, and that is at 6-4. So let's just go ahead and investigate that. Nuts. Got a -3. Okay, no dice there. And then I'll investigate it again at 6-4. Not committing anything just yet. I got a 0. Okay, so I get that. I get 1 clue off of there. All right, we now as a team have the 4 clues necessary to advance. And because Skids hasn't taken any actions yet, I will go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and advance, spending 4 clues. And let's see what we get. The Nexus of Dimensions. A light shimmers in the distance, and you head toward it to investigate. The wispy light drifts away from you, floating through the realm's strange gateways, ascending looping staircases, and crossing through barriers you dared not cross earlier. With little chance of finding the Nexus on your own, you follow the light, hoping it is guiding you in the right direction. Put the set-aside Edge of the Universe location in play. All right. So the Edge of the Universe is set aside somewhere. Where did I put it? Here it is. Okay, the Edge of the Universe. All right, the Edge of the Universe is a moon. We do not connect to that yet. It is like a red moon. And you must have at least 2 clues in order to move to the Edge of the Universe. So we'll need to make sure that Skids grabs a couple clues at some point here. And that is a 2 shroud location with 4 clues on it. All right, and our new act, Act 2A, Into the Beyond. You continue to follow the wisp of light, though the treacherous landscape makes it a difficult quarry to chase. And it still has the discard the top 3 to check out a location, and then if the investigator enters the edge of the universe, advance. All right. If an investigator enters the edge of the universe, advance. All right, so Daisy or Skids can get there. All right. Anybody would be fine. So let's see. That was the act deck advancing. So let's go ahead to Skids' turn. I can grab that clue. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Let's evade first. Let's go ahead and evade the Vassal of the Lurker at 4-2. We're still at skulls or -2, so I'm okay with 4-2. And the Chaos Bag dishes me up a -3. No such luck. Okay, so that's one action down for Skids. Yikes. Do I just start shooting? I'd be at 5-3 on the shot. Ugly. Ugly, 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 ugly. I'd like to be able to just evade and get out of here. Let that doom go. I'm going to evade again. So I'm going to evade again at 4-2. I don't have any icons that match, so I can't toss anything here. So 4-2 it is. And I get a -1. Okay, so I did get away from the Vassal of the Lurker. He's a hunter, but we can let this go and make him farther from us. So that is 2 actions. And I can't afford to try to grab the clue that's here as much as I would like to, but I want to get off of this spot. So I'm going to move in with Daisy for my 3rd action. And then hopefully next round I can heal up a little bit. Yep, just got to leave that clue behind. Oh, I do have 2 resources. That's interesting. I could spend an action to be able to get that clue, or a chance to get that clue. No thanks. That's the 2 resources are too precious for me right now. And that is the end of the investigation phase. Moving into the enemy phase, we don't have anything happening. The Vassal of the Lurker will ready here at this tear through space in the upkeep phase. So we're going to go ahead and upkeep here. I will draw a card with Skids, and it is take the initiative. Okay, glad to see that. That is such a terrific card. I'm always glad to see take the initiative, and I'll take a resource. And then Daisy will hopefully get a crack the case. That would be really good right now. And she will draw a card off the top. It is an I've got a plan. Okay, I can see a use for that for sure. Okay. That will give her a 2nd resource also. Okay, she doesn't have any clues for I've got a plan yet, but we could maybe get some at some point. And that is the end of the round. Oh, end of the round. I need to decide what to do with this tear through space. I will let it go. The monster that is at the tear through space gets, let's see, investigator or an enemy, move them there instead. Okay, so the Vassal of the Lurker gets moved to realms beyond as well. So you know that moving the investigators there is bad because it's hard to get out of there, and Yog-Sothoth is so scary, but it does give you a 1 location head start on hunters when they get moved. So I suppose there's a small benefit to that. All right, and now we're into the next round. Let's see, what is our doom situation? We now only have 1 on locations and 1 on the agenda. Good, we've avoided the advancing agenda again. So we put a doom on the agenda, that's 3 out of 4. All right, and our Mythos phase encounter card for Skids is, oh boy, a conglomeration of spheres. Just what I was wanting. Okay, so this is going to engage with Skids. Oh, mercy. That's terrible. Okay. Also a hunter. Good times, everyone. And then Daisy's encounter card is Eldritch Accord. Peril, Revelation, you may draw up to 1 card. You may choose and discard up to 2 cards from your hand. Test Willpower X. If you fail, take 2 horror. Okay, well, none of this is too bad for her. X is the number of cards in your hand when this test begins. Okay, so I may draw a card. Yeah, sure, I'll draw a card. What do you think it was? That's right, it was the Necronomicon. What better thing to draw with an Eldritch Accord? Of effing course. Okay, so that goes into play. Daisy puts 3 horror on that. Couldn't just have a nice thing happen. 3 horror on there. Okay, now I may choose and discard up to 2 cards from my hand. Well, I'm going to be testing Willpower 5 if I don't discard. But it just takes 2 horror if I fail, which is really not that bad. I have the St. Hubert's key for a little bit of protection there. I'm going to keep the cards in my hand, if nothing else but for their icons. So I'll go ahead and take this test at 4 to 5. And the Chaos Bag gives me, an Elder Sign. Unfortunately, how about that? That is a +0. But unfortunately, +0 is not enough for me to succeed, okay? If I had succeeded, I would draw a card for each tome I control, which would, now that I have the Necronomicon, allow me to draw a card. But unfortunately, the Elder Sign is a 0, so that's still a fail. So I take 2 horror. All right. Well, it was a nice tease. Everybody had a good time there. Everybody but Daisy, who's now saddled with this Necronomicon to deal with. I do have the tome actions available, and I don't have the sanity healing right now, but I could with Skids. We didn't get, I just said we didn't get another enemy, but we most certainly did. We most certainly did. A tough to evade enemy, too. Let's see. We could dump this guy, too. Yeah, we sure could. We just need somewhere to move to. Right now, there's nowhere to move to from the Endless Bridge. So let's see if Skids can't find somewhere to go. Let's evade first. I'm not attacking the Conglomeration of Spheres. So the thing is here, I could almost certainly kill him for the rest of my automatic charges. And the Tennessee Sour Mash. Right? Terrible. But if I evade him, and then we ditch this location, then the Conglomeration can just do the slow chase. I'm liking that plan. Let's evade him. Take the initiative. I'm going to evade at 7 to 4. Evade everything. Oh, Skids gets an Elder Sign. Interesting. Hey, how about a good Elder Sign? We haven't had one of those in a couple scenarios. All right, so I get +2 and get 2 resources. All right, so the Conglomeration of Spheres is evaded, and Skids picks up a couple bucks. Oh, that's a nice little boon. Okay. So now the right thing to do is let's try to get out of here. I do definitely want to heal some horror at some point. I can't put that off too much longer. Let's go ahead and explore and see if I get somewhere to go. So 3 cards. And do we find any locations? Oh, we found the green location. Unfortunately, I can't get there. Because I can only go to... if only I had a tear through space. Okay, well, I got a green location, which is a Towering Luminosity. All right, Revelation, either put Towering Luminosity into play and either place a Doom on it or take 2 damage. Well, I'll put the Doom on it because we're at the Witching Hour anyway. There's nothing more I can do about that. So Towering Luminosity comes into play. This is a 3 shroud location with 4 clues, and it is connected to the red squares. We have none of those, and it is connected to the blue hash marks. We also have none of those. So it's kind of floating out there in space by itself right now with 4 clues on it. 2, 3, 4. Okay. And I will put a Doom on it for its Revelation effect. All right, that was Skid's second action. Evade, seek. Let's see, what do I want to do next? I can't go there, so let's see if we can't search out another location, and then I could pay to take another action if I wanted to. So let's search out another location. I'll spend 3. 1, 2, 3. And I find a Tear Through Space. Okay, Baleful Welcome Beyond the Veil and a Tear Through Space. Beautiful. Okay, so the Tear Through Space goes into play. And it is connected. I'm just going to go ahead and move this. That connects us to the Towering Luminosity. And gets us there. It doesn't get us any closer to the edge of the universe, unfortunately. But it does give us somewhere to go. That comes into play with a clue on it. All right, and then I will spend 2 resources with Skids to be able to take another action, and I will move. I will get out of here. I will move to the Tear Through Space. Let's go ahead and mark. These 2 are adjacent. Let's get sloppy. These 2 are adjacent, and then the Towering Luminosity is adjacent both directions as well. Okay, so that's Skid's 4 actions. After an investigator leaves the Endless Bridge, which I just did, either place a Doom on it or discard it. Well, I'll put a Doom on it because that don't matter, because we're going to be Witching Houring this anyway. Okay, now Daisy, who could explore this place and grab a clue. So the Towering Luminosity is cool, but it's not taking us closer to the edge of the universe, or at least it doesn't seem to be. I don't know my connections in this scenario very well. I've played it 4 or 5 times, but it's hard to remember the symbols. Towering Luminosity is from the Return To, and I think that it's sort of a bridge to a couple different options, but I honestly just don't remember. I like Daisy's chances of getting clues there, though, so that's pretty good. All right. Well, let's go ahead and try to grab the clue here while I'm here. So I'm going to go ahead and ditch the Knowledge is Power. I don't need it right now. Though that could set up a combo with Divermis. Hang on a second. Let me look and see if I have a spell or insight event. I don't hardly have anything in my discard pile at all. Okay, nothing good there eventually now, but maybe later. Daisy could also shortcut out of here to give herself an extra action. And then when the Endless Bridge goes away, I could re-dig the shortcut out with Divermis with Knowledge is Power. All right, let's go ahead and just investigate this 6 to 4. Let's just go straight up. I recognize that skulls are -3 right now, but I recognize it, but I'm not going to do anything about it. Nope, I'm just going to test it. 6 to 4. No guts, no glory, right? I think that's no guts equals no glory. But I got a +1. Okay. Got the clue. Okay, terrific. Now I'm gonna drop a shortcut in this location for one resource. Puts me back at 1. What did I spend a resource on? Oh, I lost the 2 when that one came into play, yeah. Okay, so Daisy lost 2 resources when the Edge of the Universe? No, when the Endless Bridge came into play. Okay, so I'm down to 1 resource, but now I can fast move out of here. So I will go ahead and fast move out of here over to the Tear Through Space. Let's see, so far I have spent 1 action investigating. I will, after I've left the Endless Bridge, I will go ahead and discard it to get rid of the conglomeration of spheres and dump him down here in the other world, the realms beyond. Okay, and the Endless Bridge is discarded. The shortcut was attached and it is also discarded. So now I can go get that back with Divermus, if I want to. Okay, and then Daisy will, I'm gonna grab the clue here. This tear through space is connected to a lot of places. Let's go ahead and check out and see if I can find a connection here. So let's draw 3 cards, 1, 2, 3. This is my second action. I'm gonna look for a connection. I got 2 monsters, a Servant of the Lurker and an Interstellar Traveler. Glad to see them gone. That was my second action. We're gonna hang out here, so I think I'll just go ahead and take a third action and try to find another location as well. So 1, 2, 3. We need to figure out how to get to the edge of the universe. That's what I'm trying to figure out. It honestly might only be the steps which we've already been through. Now let me look at that. Yikes. The steps do connect you there. Hopefully there's some other way to get there. Looks like there might be. All right, and Daisy finds no more locations. All right. So that's a wasted action, and she is done. That's it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the Vassal of the Lurker hunts to another dimension. He's 1 space behind us. And Towering Lumosity is connected to another dimension as well. I didn't notice that. All right, so the Vassal of the Lurker is right behind us. This conglomeration is reset. And we're going to draw some cards. So Skids draws a Narrow Escape. Okay, that's fine. I'll take a resource. And then Daisy will reset and draw a Banish. That's actually extra interesting in this particular scenario, isn't it? Any location in play. Very nice. Very nice, and I'll take a resource. So Daisy does have the resources to pay for that Banish, so that might come in really handy. All right, we are advancing the agenda. That is going to be doom number, I don't know, a whole bunch on the agenda. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the agenda. And we advance to Agenda 2B. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck, then discard cards until a location is discarded, and then resolve its revelation effect. Okay. All right, shuffling. Shuffled up. Let's discard till we get a location. Ah, another Tear Through Space. Okay. Put that into play. Put a clue on it. Oh, I forgot to deal with the Tear Through Space at the end of last round. I'm obviously keeping it. I put a doom on it. The doom goes away. This is discarded. Yithian Starseeker got discarded, so that's pretty good. Okay. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the counter deck. We did that. Okay, did that. Check the campaign log. If at least one name is recorded under sacrifice to Yog-Sothoth, I have two names, Earl Sawyer and the other, Professor Warren Rice. You hear a familiar voice calling out to you, and you enter an impossibly shaped building of cracked stone. "No, don't!" the voice cries. You rush toward the voice, down a set of steep, narrow stairs. Upon reaching the bottom, you find yourself in the hidden chamber from Dunwich. Bound by shackles, you see those you failed to save, bloodied and maimed. A creature with a man's face feeds from a corpse on the ground. The head of the corpse turns to face you, and a sharp pain stabs your heart. Each investigator tests willpower 2, the number of names recorded under sacrifice to Yog-Sothoth. So willpower 2, for each point you fail by, you take a damage. All right. So Skids will test willpower 2. Still not something I can use the Tennessee Sour Mash on because this is not a treachery card. So 2 to 2 on this test. I won't commit anything. And I pull a -4. I suppose it's as good a time as any for that. So I take 2 damage. That's fine. And Daisy will test 4 to 2. And I'll just take that, 4 to 2. And she pulls a -1, so takes no damage. Okay. Moving on to Agenda 3A. Breaking Through, version 2. Throughout this warped dimension, no matter where you travel, there is a haunting shape in the distance. At first it appears as a disk, like a black moon with many wriggling arms. But as time passes, you can tell it is growing larger and larger. It still has the, after you are moved to a location by an encounter card effect, take a horror. Still has that ability. And by the way, I did look up the scenario card that tells you the key to what each of the symbols in the bag does is considered to be an encounter card. So if the effect of one of the tokens moves you, as in the case of the cultist token, then that does count toward the taking a horror from the agenda effect in this scenario. So a little corner case, but there it is. Okay, so that takes care of that, and now we're going to draw a couple encounter cards. Let's see what we get. Skids draws another Eldritch Accord. Okay, this time it's Skids, though. Okay, well now I can use a Tennessee Sour Mash. I may draw a card. Yes, please. Oh, an emergency cash. Very nice. All right, now I may discard as many, discard up to 2 cards from my hand. If I fail, take 2 horror, which would, I do believe, kill me. All right, well, I better get rid of some cards. I can discard up to 2 cards from my hand. I will discard the Narrow Escape and the Enchanted Blade. Yep. Okay. And then I'm going to test Willpower X. I will use a Tennessee Sour Mash charge to be able to get a +3 to this skill test. So I'm testing at 5 to 3. 5 to 3. If I fail, I die. How do you like those odds? Ooh, Daisy could commit something to this. Ooh, how many extra dimensionals? There are 3 extra dimensionals in play. Anything other than a +3 is risking death. All right, Daisy will commit a Knowledge is Power to this check for Skids. So, 5 to 3. Let's see if I make it. We get a +1. Okay. I made it. Always be drunk in the cosmos. That's the lesson here. And then that is Daisy's encounter card coming. And she draws a Beyond the Veil. Okay, that's fine. And then can't do anything about that anyway. And that surges into Collapsing Reality. Oh, this one. Ay, ay, ay. That's terrible. Okay, if you are at an extra dimensional location, discard it. Oh my God. Discard it and take a damage. Okay, well this is bad. So here's what happens. Skids and Daisy are both unceremoniously dumped into the realms beyond. Because this tear through space is discarded. Okay. Daisy takes a damage from the effect of that card. We both take a horror for being unceremoniously dumped, which puts Daisy at 4 out of 7 and Skids at 5 out of 6. And now we're dead. Now we are, let's see, the conglomeration of spheres would engage with Skids based on its prey instructions. And we have now been dumped from the frying pan and into the fire. No doubt about that. Okay, so this connection is gone. Now it's still here. Okay, well, the Vassal of the Lurker can't hunt to us now, so I suppose that's good. It's a small, small but benefit. Well, well, well. Here we are at the investigation phase, and we are both faced with a conglomeration of spheres and Yog-Sothoth. I'm going to have to kill this thing. There's no doubt about it. There's just no two ways about it. I have to kill this thing. And I have to try to get out of here. The Vassal of the Lurker will engage whoever moves into another dimension. So Skids would die in that situation also. What is Daisy can... Daisy can banish this conglomeration of spheres, but it's a really tough check. It'd be a 4-4 check. It's not good. She could evade it with a mind over matter. Or punch it a couple times. I think Daisy's going to go ahead and try to scout out and take out the Vassal of the Lurker. So, here's the plan. Daisy's going to go first. Her first action will be to move out into another dimension. So, let's see here. That's going to be, she'll do a willpower test on that. That's a willpower 4-3 check. And I'll just take it. Hope for the best. Willpower 4-3. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, no, we're good. 4-3. Okay, I get a -3, so I cancel the effects of the move, and so I have to go back. Action 2, I'll do it again. 4-3. Got a -3 again. This is not looking good. So then for my third action, what do I do? Only 2 resources. I will pull the conglomeration of spheres for my third action. Hopefully save Skids. All right, and then Skids is going to unload. I'm going to go ahead and unload a 45 automatic charge. This is a 5-1 on the conglomeration. I get a 0, so that's enough to deal 2 damage to the conglomeration. 1, 2. I will empty another 45 automatic charge into him. And that was, what was the odds there? 5 to 1? Is that what it was? 4, 5 to 1? -5. Uh-oh. That's a miss. Not only is that a miss, but because of the way I did this, I just shot Daisy. You shot Daisy in the face! So Daisy takes 2 damage, and I can't do anything about it. So that's 4 out of 5 damage from Daisy. That means the conglomeration is going to kill her. So that was Skid's second action. I can't do enough damage to it to save her. So I either save her or I pull him and save myself. All right, I save her by pulling him, or I save myself by not pulling him. Let's see. Yog-Sothoth, when he attacks, you can discard cards instead of taking the horror. Let's face it, kids, we're both dead. We're just dead as dead can be. So let's let's go out with a bang here. Skids is going to selflessly sacrifice himself. I will pull the conglomeration of spheres for my third action. I will spend 2 resources on a fourth action, and I will toss the Tennessee Sour Mash at him. Crack him over the head with a bottle. And I'm going to attack for, let's see, that'd be 4, 7 to 1. I get a -3. So that's enough to deal 2 more damage to the conglomeration, which is only 4 out of 6. And we are both out of actions. Okay. Enemy phase, we're both dead. So that makes that math nice and easy. Let's start with Skids as the start player. So I have 2 enemies that are engaged with me, or the Yog-Sothoth is massive. So he is going to, I'll have Yog-Sothoth hit me for 1 damage, which I'll take, and 5 horror, which I will take on cards. So I discard the top 5 cards of my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and then, hey, at least it wasn't the stubborn detective that took me out. And then the conglomeration of spheres that I am engaged with hits me for 1 and 1. I don't have any soak, so I am driven insane. So Skids goes down to insanity, as I think Skids sometimes does. And then Daisy will resolve the attack from Yog-Sothoth against her. She will take 1 damage and has no soak, and that is the end of Daisy. So she takes a damage. That kills her with a physical blow to the face, as Daisy tends to die as well. And that is Lost in Time and Space. Probably one of my worst runs of that scenario ever, but it's hard to tell. Just nothing went right from the very beginning. It's a tough scenario, and honestly, I don't think these decks were up to it. I mean, they did pretty well through the whole campaign, honestly. But when you come into this scenario, you've got to have some firepower, you've got to have some soak, you've got to have some luck, and I didn't have any of those things. The bag is really tough. A bad draw at the wrong time can be the end of you, and we saw how that happens. So that's the end of that. I hope that you enjoyed this campaign run through the return to the Dunwich Legacy. How about we get a resolution on this whole campaign here? Lost in Time and Space. Let's read what happens if everyone is killed. Where did you come from? Why are you here? Aren't you dreaming, or is this place real? Now that you think about it, haven't you been here before? Or perhaps you've been here all along. Now you remember, this is your real home. The path you now walk is but one ledge with many more below. You only have to fall, and you will be where you belong. One more step. Each defeated investigator is killed, and that is that. Another resolution was not reached, so that is the end of that. So, Skids, Daisy, thanks for a fun run through the campaign. I think that you guys pulled off as good of a run through that with the Return to Dunwich as a Skids and Daisy could do. Sure, there were probably plenty of play mistakes, and there were probably some deck upgrade mistakes, but I had a good time, and I played with a lot of cards I never got a chance to play. Unfortunately, I never got to play with the Hallowed Mirror. It sat in my hand this whole game, and I really wanted to try that out, but it was not to be. Maybe the next campaign I'll give it a go. I am going to be starting a new video campaign coming very soon with the Return to the Path to Carcosa, and that will be featuring Mark Harrigan and Lola Hayes. So we're going to go through the campaign blind run through the Return to Path to Carcosa. I'm excited about that. That should be released here in the States in about a week, so watch for a video episode number 1 coming out for Return to Curtain Call. And in the meantime, I'll put out an episode probably in the middle of the weekend or early next week with a little video review of my thoughts from the Circle Undone. Watch my audio channel also for a Jim and Calvin let's see, they're headed into For the Greater Good, I believe. But if you check out my channel on SoundCloud, you'll be able to figure that one out for yourself. The link will be below this video. Thanks for watching, and thanks for following along with this campaign if you got the chance to do that. I hope that you've enjoyed my first inaugural campaign with the I've Got a Plan podcast. Look for many more in the future. Thanks so much, and let's have fun.